All right, and we're live. I see, it's still the title. It's me, Sonalar, together with Uriah Edwards on the show. It's not called Technical Difficulties. It's
Nope.
definitely talking interesting characters. Take it away, Uriah, as I fix the
Yeah,
stream.
man. Ironically enough, we had technical difficulties and had a bit of miscommunication about what we wanted to talk what we wanted to talk about.
it's, so,
Um,
it's so hilarious, man. Oh.
oh my gosh. But yeah, so Z put out a video earlier. Was it earlier today?
Yes.
Like you posted it like just today. Talking about interesting characters, and it really, because I've thought a lot about this topic, thinking about how to come up with compelling characters that you want to stick with over a longer period of time. And I think you had a lot of great things to say in that video, and I just wanted to chat about it a little bit. I really enjoyed how you prefaced the video with saying that your characters need to be interesting to you.
Yeah.
It seems like such an obvious thing, but really, uh, what I see a lot of times happening out there is people will create characters that are interesting to themselves, but only to themselves. So
Oh,
you
yes.
you have you have this disconnect that happens where um, there's five different influences that are coming together, and nobody's talked about anything, and you just have this hodgepodge, this mishmash of characters that don't really fit with each other, and you have to come up with ways to sort of shoehorn them in and stuff like that. Um, yeah, I think when it comes to coming up with interesting characters, um, it being cool to you first is an important detail.
Absolutely. Uh, Interesting characters. It's interesting. It's so weird. Like, I've had this talk with Cade about that he had these moments when we did a training session of thinking, what would be cool for my character to
Mm,
do or say?
yeah,
And now you're already a step removed from thinking as your character to thinking as a writer of what a character
right.
should do.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
that distance is taking yourself out of from, instead of sitting behind the eyes of the characters, yeah, of the character, you're like looking down on him, thinking
mhm,
how he looks like in the environment and
right.
what would
It's
be.
sort of it's that omniscient sort of third
Yes.
person view where you're trying to come up with all the cool ideas. There was I don't remember what the conversation was. It may have been on a stream I was watching,
Yeah.
where there was the conversation was about um, what is a railroad versus what's not a railroad, and this
Yes.
idea of well, what if my character doesn't want to do the thing that the game is about? Sort of that
Indeed.
reluctant kind of Bilbo Baggins reluctant hero sort of thing. And I think, of course, playing an interesting character, playing a character that's interesting to oneself is important, but also playing a character that is interesting in general. If you're playing just the ho hum, never wants to do anything sort of character, you're sort of setting yourself up for failure.
Yes, you want, and with the railroad, that's an interesting topic because at one point I prefer what what's the right word? I kind of challenged Crispy that his Vanguard game is a railroad, and he replied kind of funnily like no apologies,
Yeah, no apologies. Yeah,
which I enjoyed. But then we actually
yeah,
talked about it in Discord. Well, what makes it a railroad? Because my perspective was, well, you have a clear plot, you have
hmm
one way for the characters to go. All the characters are bought in, so they're like following along. They're on top
sure,
of the train,
Right.
and like a bunch of prep has been done, like dozens, like 2 dozens pictures showed on stream
Hmm.
of like he has a pretty clear idea how things are going to play out, and they
Totally.
might like go a bit left, like veer left or veer right, but it's still
Mhm.
the same highway,
Right. Right.
and exploring that. And I got the pushback, which I
Hmm.
enjoyed, because the big pushback was, well, it's not a railroad, because the railroad would say the players can never choose to leave. Like if the players
Yeah.
choose to leave,
Yeah.
the game master is gonna pull them back. You hit the
Hmm.
invisible wall on the edges
Yeah.
of the highway when you try to
Yeah.
jump over and see if you survive the fall.
Sure. Yeah. That is the tricky thing when it comes to playing games that are sort of mission based. If that's sort
Yes.
of so. A good example is my game Chaos Ensues. The whole premise of that game is you're agents and you're solving mysteries. You're figuring out these paranormal phenomena.
Yeah.
Um, and if you just up and say, "Yeah, I don't really feel like it," you don't really have a game to go off of. You know what I mean? So there is a certain degree of buy-in when
It's
it
like
comes to
the
creating your
premise
character.
falls flat completely if
Mhm.
the characters don't engage
Absolutely.
with it.
Right. Right. And something else I was thinking about when I was listening to that video, to your video actually, is really the importance of a session zero, or at least the
Yeah.
importance of everybody being on the same page. If everybody's not on the same page, you're gonna get these moments where five different people have five different ideas, and none of them mesh well together. Um,
Indeed, and that's one of
yeah.
the big problems players have when a player shows up and they say, "Well, my character is kind of like he's playing Batman in the
Mhm.
setting. I'm the dark, broody, lonely type that stays
Yeah.
disconnected from everything else that's happening." But it can often play out for the other three players sit at the table thinking, are you gonna play with us? Or every time it's your
Yeah.
turn, you do your own thing, completely
Mhm.
disconnected?
Yeah. I do think there are times where that can be applicable. For example, if your character has ulterior motives.
Yes.
For example, we did a no prep with it was me, Nicholas. I want to say it was me, Nicholas,
And Bleakneck.
Thanks Skeleton, and Bleaknick. Yes, yeah, it was all of us, and we were playing this like skyship game, and all of us were going down to the surface. It was coated in this poisonous mist. We're all in these like old timey diving suits with the big metal helmets and stuff, and we're going around. And my character broke off from the rest of the group and was going and doing my own thing. I was looking for secret weapons and stuff that was left behind on the surface of, I think we were in like Paris or something. But I was looking for
Literally
stuff that
Eiffel
was,
Tower territory.
yes, yeah, yeah. We were within the plaza of the Eiffel Tower, but you know, I'm going off and doing my own thing,
Indeed.
and it worked because we all sort of circled back around, getting back together.
Yeah.
Um, but those within the context of what all we were talking about and what we had sort of discussed beforehand, it made sense. We all understood that each of us had different underlying secret plans that we wanted to accomplish while we were on the surface, adding sort of that intrigue. But if you're just being a punk, if you're just being disruptive,
Rage Against the
then
Machine.
yes, yeah, yeah. If you're doing that, that is bad faith playing. That is just poor sportsmanship, if that's the right word to use.
And it needs to be addressed. If not in session 0, then after the session. To the feedback is very important to that, and that's why I'm really enjoying that we continue the tradition we established in the Lich's Tracks. We taking it over to the Pathfinder game. We end half an hour early because we want to be able to talk to each other how the session
Absolutely,
went.
totally, yeah.
And what's the word, like percolate those ideas about did our communication improve? Did we get better
Mhm.
at sharing our turns and not like hogging them? Or like famously, Conway was very much happy to be the first one to jump in and react to anything that the game master was doing. And I ended up pointing out like, I think there were a couple points where I really wanted to say something but didn't because you were so ready to jump in,
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
wanted the scene to breathe a little before I talk again.
Sure. Yeah.
But then, like even after that, like post game talk, I looked at the video again, and I was typing in Discord like furiously, like, "Dude, you guys were so rude to me."
Yeah.
Like with timestamps and everything. Like at this
Yeah.
moment is I expected
Yeah.
this, but you did this other thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I for one have been notorious about um, being too enthusiastic when it comes to my role play. Whether it's
Yeah.
jumping in too often and being the first one to jump the gun, or 4Ding, co-creating in like important plot elements and solving crimes, on my own and crap like that. Um, and honestly, a lot of those things, I can understand a person, and I'm much more um, understanding of an individual who is just excited to be there. I would much
Oh
rather you
yes.
make those mistakes, make those mistakes because you're so excited to be a part, and then take the criticism, take the words of advice, and then the next time you make those small adjustments, and then
Yeah.
you're running without training wheels essentially. And that's really the fun of 4D, of learning this skill of role playing, has been to find out those places where you have issues and then learn how to fix them.
Yeah. I'm getting some connection issues, but most of it is coming through fine. Yeah, absolutely. I find that if you bring the enthusiasm to play your character, uh, then it's easier to give feedback to like see what is too much or what is not enough, and to focus in to I guess like not get distracted all the time of like every little
Mhm.
detail and mellow out a
Totally.
bit more. But if you
Right.
are lacking that enthusiasm, it's hard to give this externally to the player at the table
Sure.
to be like, I mean, now we are reaching actor school territory. Like, just get more
Yeah.
into it. Like, show some more
Yeah.
pizzazz. Just do a
Right.
little bit of oomph when you speak.
Mhm.
It's like okay, it's and
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
not. I'm kind of interested to help people get more into character because I find
Mhm.
it a fascinating part of a role playing game to embody who you're role playing and being able to get into all of these different roles and different mindsets.
Mhm.
I find that part very fascinating to me.
Totally. Yeah. And that, kind of getting back to the topic of interesting characters, that is where a lot of the fun of character creation comes from.
Oh
Oh
yes.
my gosh, I will never forget. I was scrolling through that cesspool known as Reddit, um, and I was scrolling through. I think it was just like the regular 5e subreddit, and people were talking about character ideas that they had, and somebody literally said, "I have over 100 characters all written up, all the stats ready, all the builds let out. I have their backstories all laid out, and I sort of I feel hurt because I know I'm never going to be able to use all of them. It's
That's so
like,
painful. Holy shit.
yeah, it and at one point, at to a certain extent, I'm like, well, at that point, go write a book, you know,
True.
go take these characters and do something with them.
Yeah.
But also, if you find enjoyment in rolling up 100 characters that you know you're never going to do anything with, go buck wild. But there are certain things that you can spend that time on that are going to be better than just rolling up these characters. Um, yeah, it kind of boggles my mind sometimes, and oftentimes people sort of take D&D Beyond as, well, this is just my OC generator. You know, I
The
get to come up with all
sandbox
these
tool.
OCs, and
It's
yeah,
it's
yeah, that sort of
it's
thing.
very much feels like, oh, I play Space Engineers, and I just think, are you playing survival mode or sandbox?
Yeah,
Because you can just float in space and build as many spaceships as you want.
Mhm.
They're not interesting to fly unless you do it in a world where you have to survive, where you
right.
O2 matters, you have to actually
Yeah,
pick up stuff.
yeah,
When it has a purpose, like
hmm
a spaceship that allows you to go back down to the planet and back up, or a truck that lets you carry a bunch of material from one place to the other, a
right.
building that's only job it is to refuel when you dock.
Yeah,
And so often I feel like the same way is weird analogies, but I'm gonna run with those. You build like the eierlegende Wollmilchsau. You literally have, it lays the eggs, you shear the wool, you get the milk, and you can eat the
yeah,
pork. This one base that can do everything.
Mhm.
This one character, like, it beats the enemy, it knows the
yeah,
magic, it is very
yeah,
divinely blessed, and has all the connections, and everybody
Mhm.
loves him. And he's also a paladin because everybody can be a
yeah,
paladin.
yeah. And plus, I got to get that D10 from Smite. You know.
Yeah, yeah. Absolutely. Like, okay, you can do all of these things, but are you interesting? Right?
Yeah, yeah,
Like, when push comes to shove, how does your character react when, like,
Mhm.
the small child gets picked up by the orc raiders and, like, it cries out for mommy as it gets pulled, like, kidnapped out of the village as the marauding
Mhm.
band charges through, picking up
yeah,
slaves and whatnot. And the character is, like, literally there standing kind of dumbfounded. How will he react?
right.
Like, hey, you! I saw you! You're that guy that
You're that guy. You're that guy who hit on my girl.
last night.
Yeah,
And
that's a deep cut.
it's,
No,
I
I
want to
mean
say,
you
like, not to
bring
make
you
fun of people, but when
right.
we watched that one game, that's also 6 years old, like a long time ago.
Mhm.
But when
Sure.
that happened in that one role playing session that I've reviewed in the previous live stream, we were all just dumbfounded at,
Yeah.
wait, where is nobody in the world? Are we
Mm.
all just observing the world by sitting
Yeah.
at a table looking down into it?
Right. Right. Yeah. Well, not to get too far off track, but it was like when we played Draw Steel. You know, um, when we played Draw
Yeah,
Steel, we
very
were using a
similar.
VTT. Of course, we can't help but have that top-down view. You know, so we're seeing things that our characters wouldn't see, and we have to sort of recontextualize what we're seeing on the screen versus what we're seeing in the real world. You know. Um,
Yes, you see it once, now you have to see it a second time, but through
mhm.
the eyes of your character.
Yeah, yeah. It's really jarring. You know. Um, One thing I want to talk about. So you on the thumbnail of this stream, it says not just a cardboard cutout, or don't make a cardboard cutout.
Yes.
Um, that is what I would consider one extreme of bad character creation. So you have, basically the character is nothing more than the paper that the numbers are written on. It's just an
Oh yeah.
avatar. It's the little chit that you move around the game board, the little sorry piece, that sort of thing.
It's
On
when
the
the character sheet doesn't even have a name written in. It has
right,
no
yeah,
characteristics written down. You have stats for
yeah,
strength and charisma, but they don't have a face on it. The,
right, yeah. Um, what I would say is on the complete opposite side, you have um, what I would say is the caricature. So you have the cardboard cutout character, and you have the caricature, which is
right.
this hyper exaggerated manifestation of the character that you're trying to portray. Um,
The character.
and I think there's a fine line between a an extravagant character and a proper caricature.
The caricature. How do you think do players reach like creating caricature naturally? Because I feel like I see it often, and when I see it in players, it's mostly because they don't want to think too hard who their character is, so they pick something they like.
Yeah,
I am Black Widow, so I have like
yeah,
all of these remarks about how women are better than men, multitasking, like
sure,
always applying makeup between missions,
yeah,
uh,
yeah,
the stuff like that. Wearing the
sure,
tight black leather suit. I mean, classic female spy stuff. Who doesn't like a
sure,
tight black leather suit
yeah,
onesies?
yeah. I think a lot of it comes. I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head. A lot of it just sort of comes from, well, one, wanting to make the people at the table laugh. You
Yeah,
know, whether you're playing the horny bard, whether you're playing the stupid barbarian, a lot of those tropes that we see sort of in the D&D zeitgeist,
yeah.
stealing Bacon's word there. But a lot of those sort of caricatures that we see are often just trying to make people laugh. Oh my gosh,
Levity
that
at the table.
yeah, that what was that video? That all girls game,
Oh,
was it like
girls,
girls guts
guts,
and
and glory.
yeah, something like that. And you have all of these girls at the table who are characters. They're not very deep characters, but they're at least embodying speaking as their characters conversationally.
Yeah,
And then you have the one player on the very end of the table who is dressed up in dwarf garb, has a fake beard on, a painted on mustache, and they're speaking in this
big.
outrageously horrendous, the big bushy eyebrows
Yes,
added
the
on.
eyebrows.
I know speaking in this like British accent, just absolutely taking it to the umpteenth degree. And it
Yeah,
totally just ruins the entire. And of course, it's all for getting a laugh out of people, but it's
yes.
too much. It's way too much.
Like
I
at
think if
that.
they had a conversation at the table, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, go on.
If they just had a conversation at the table, they would have been able to just like, okay, tone that down a little bit. Maybe we just take it a little bit backwards, It would have meshed much better.
And that's definitely a part of the tone you want to go for because girls, guts, and glory. Okay, it's an all-girl team, but one of the girls says, "Well, can I play a male character?" Like it's all
Yeah.
excited about the idea,
Right. Yeah.
and everybody's like, "You go, girl!" Like, yeah, I'll
Yeah.
support you. But the
Yeah.
shift in tone of, okay, but play a serious male character then because everybody else is playing serious girl characters. But I don't even know that that's the tone they're going for because the game master is handing out advertisements, which are basically what's it called, like contact cards of each
Yeah. Yeah.
business
Business
cards
cards.
of every
Yeah.
NPC, just like a
Yeah.
A4 paper with the name. You see the picture, like we can't see it as the viewers, but you can see it like shine through the light. It's a picture
Sure.
on there, and there's probably a blurb of level 2 druid or level
Yeah.
7 bartender on it
Yeah.
that has like a couple lines so the players know what they're about, and that's literally
Right.
handed out at the table that breaks the fourth wall right off the hinges.
Yes. Very much.
So I'm
Very much
thinking
so.
like, okay, wait, what is the tone they're going for? Is it just like a funny remark but also a useful help for the players so they can remember the NPCs? Are we trying to is the funny dwarf that starts crying on the spot because he is like confronted with the idea that he never learned how to read? Is that supposed to be funny and everybody is in on a joke? Or
Yeah.
is that not funny because everybody else is trying to play serious characters? With the beautiful, perfect makeup, by the way, because
Yeah.
they know it's
Yeah.
a show and I'm a pretty girl, and gosh darn it, am I gonna look fucking pretty on this broadcast? You know,
You better.
you
You better.
I'm very lucky that I'm not in that dog eat dog world when it comes to makeup. I just show up. I
Yeah.
didn't even I
Yeah.
didn't shave my beard. I
Didn't
do my
shave,
hair.
you know, yeah.
Yeah.
Hair, didn't cut your hair, nothing like that. No. But I mean, so and all of these I say this as a person who has repeatedly gone too far with that caricature side of things.
Yes.
I often start with the caricature and then dial it back in order to get something that I'm happy with. So
Yes.
for example, Red, this is Red. He's my character in the Horizon game that I'm playing with Crispy, Phil, and
Right.
Max. He started off as, you know, he's an android who was a part of this traveling Wild West attraction. You know, you kind of like a Westworld sort of thing where you go and get to shoot with the cowboys and stuff like that. And a lot of his character traits are indicative of that. You know, the accent, the rough Southern, you know, how you doing, fella? That sort of thing. The gunslinging, he spins his gun around all the time.
He is
outfit,
the
I know
walking immersive experience for the players to be
Yes.
like, oh wow, he's so cool. I want to be like him
Yeah,
for
yeah.
real, for real. It's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
can we
And
catch
what it
some
took-
cows? Like,
Yeah, rustle up some cattle. What it took for him to sort of be contextually fitting, it took a lot of discussion in our session 0.3 of finding a way to come up with enough backstory where he fits within the world and
Yes.
is connected, you know, is able to be connected, which, like, super big shout out to Crispy and the gang for really helping me out with that, because all I had was, well, he's just a runaway android from a Wild West attraction. You know, he's just that kind of guy.
and that's really cool. Did you come with the idea in your head? Oh, I want to play a Blade Runner like character, right? Runaway
it
android that
really-
people don't know if he's really a robot or not. Was that the
Well,
Start?
so for Red, it was going to be readily apparent that he was an android.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, but my
It's
sort
not
of the
it's
sort
not
of,
T-1000 where people could confuse him for a
right. Yeah,
human.
yeah, yeah. It is readily apparent that he is an android. But he you know, but that's because of all the damage that happened to his face and to his body over the months of him being in hiding, that sort of thing.
Right, yeah. He never got the
sort of in
maintenance
disrepair. Yeah, kind of like a there's that Robin Williams movie. I think it's called The Millennium Man. The Millennium Man, where he's like,
Okay.
he starts off as a robot and then gets more and more stuff put on him.
I see.
But Crispy and everyone else, they did a great job of adding sort of more background elements. Like, he's not just this roller coaster ride. He's like a secret government weapon that has all of these protocols in his head, and
Yes.
he switches between them as he needs them.
And I liked it.
So it added more context.
In that way, the players, since it was a new session 0, the first campaign, like chapter 1 stopped, the players did something else, and I think it was like 6 months later you joined and like picking Horizon back up again. So okay, like one of the player characters are dead. Phil has a new character idea. Uriah is joining in to help round out the squad. How do we make the character fit into a world that already exists?
Yes.
And all the players hear your idea, and that's why session 0 is so valuable, because you
Yes.
get to share those ideas and make sure that they mesh together and don't conflict all the time. One of the big things that really irks me about players is when the players think about balance in the team, and I could not give less of a hoot if it's a balanced team or not. Look, if you would be playing another pilot smuggler to go alongside Mr. Max's pilot smuggler, and Phil also played a pilot smuggler, that would be super funny to me because
Yeah.
all three of those roles, so to say, can have a really strong character that are distinct from each other.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah. But the interesting thing is though, with how Red has gone so far, and I'm super happy with how things are turning out. Crispy's done an excellent job and really the other guys as well have done an excellent job of keeping me involved in the game. I've never
Yes.
felt like I'm the odd person out, even though my character is the odd person out. If I were to do it again, if I were to start it over and come up with a character again, knowing what I know now, or at least experiencing what I have so far, I
Yeah.
probably wouldn't come up with an idea like Red,
Oh,
because
yeah.
although Red has a lot of backstory, he's a really in-depth kind of guy. He's he is so disconnected from the world. He is so separated from everything else that's happening. Um, for
Right.
him, not only is he separated from what's happening like on the planet we're on, he's not from that planet, but he's also separated from the world at large. He doesn't have the context. Basically, his entire memory is a fake memory, and it was something that was put into his programming. And he's going from this Wild West world to seeing this sci-fi, space travel and these big massive spaceships and everything, go from one thing to another. That leaves him even further separated. But what Crispy's done is he's sort of drop feeding me packets of context so that my character is slowly understanding the world around him as he continues to learn about who he is. So that was some extra legwork that I didn't ask Crispy to do that. That was
Yeah.
something that he sort of took upon himself. It I probably would have done somebody who already knew, or at least had some sort of connection to the people there already, instead of trying to come up with some sort of out of the box idea. But it has been fun. It's been a great time. It's been a lot of fun.
That speaks to the idea of role playing a character that has skin in the game. Because
Mhm.
if you have skin in the game, you want to see the world change, and if you don't,
Yes.
you can roleplay your character kind of apathetic to everything that
Mhm.
happens around you, which makes it
Yeah.
hard on the game master that might want to make things interesting, shake them up by introducing pushes, introducing new elements, and then the player just looks at it and thinks, well, it's not the cowboy world that I know, like turns away and goes back helping his buddies.
I'm losing.
Your connection is dropping. Your video is frozen in place.
Oh, jeez. Can you hear
I
me?
Yeah, I can hear you again.
Okay. That's not good.
No.
Well, in any case, oh my gosh, man, that sucks. I just dropped out again. Dang.
Yeah, I see. Like the screen is
Well,
freezing, catching up again. It's very funny.
yeah. Well, so I'll speak my piece. I'll speak my piece, and then I think we'll call it. Um, Biggest piece of advice that I can give for people who are wanting to create interesting characters is to steal everything that you know. Copy, take inspiration. The more you read, the more you watch, the more you listen, the more context that you'll have in order to pull from cool stuff. Every single one of these characters is stolen from something else. Whether so Red, his picture, his image is based off of Terrence Hill, who was a spaghetti western actor. His voice is meant to sound like Arthur Morgan from Red Dead 2.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and really everything else was sort of built around that. Adric Hammerfell, his voice is meant to sound like a character from an audiobook of Coram, the Prince in the Scarlet Robe. That's a Michael Moorcock series. Um, he's got like this sort of vaguely Irish accent. Um, you can check out. He was my Shadow Dark character. What we did with Kingmaker and a bunch of the guys. But
Right.
yeah, that's
I have to
kind
finish
of his
that one
vibe.
still.
Yeah, yeah. I really wish we could play that one again. Like, I would really love to take because of how that session ended. We have a really cool cliffhanger that we can sort of just keep coasting with.
Yeah.
So Kingmaker, buddy, I love you, man. Another Shadow Dark session soon. And then the dwarf this is my draw steel character. This one is like very much a caricature, but again dialed back enough to where it makes sense. This is Bobby, and he's like I based him off of sort of the Appalachian, good old Southern boys, how you doing, that sort of thing.
Yes.
The people that I'm from Kentucky. That's sort of smack dab in the middle of it. But yeah, I sort of based him off of a lot of the people that I knew growing up and stuff. And then this is Pete Baxter. He was Mike Nelson Sue's character. His picture and really his whole backstory is kind of based off of some of the characters in Twin Peaks. His picture is based off of the character Albert in Twin Peaks, who's sort of this hard-headed kind of, no nonsense sort of guy, always likes to make fun of other people and really old school. But his backstory was based on Dale Cooper's sort of background, him losing his partner and stuff like that.
I see.
So whatever ideas you have, don't try to be original because it's all been done before, essentially. But don't feel bad about taking from stuff that you love, from the books you love, the movies you love. Take it, tweak it a little bit, make it your own, and then run with it. That's probably the best piece of advice that I can give on creating interesting characters.
Yeah, definitely take what inspires you of characters that stick with you when you see them in a movie, in a TV show, in a book. I don't read books. I mostly play video games. So if a video game character sticks out, I'm like, I keep a mental note on that.
Oh yeah.
But for me, it's very much of I'm not trying to emulate characters that I already know. I'm thinking, and this I mostly explained it in the video that that was very hard to listen to for people. I very much think of what would be cool to explore, something that I cannot be, or it's very hard for me to get into being. Like, I could become a monk, but that's a lot of work, and I could become a martial artist, but I would have to change my whole life to do that.
Yeah.
How's that bad?
But also role playing a woman, role playing a person of the opposite gender, role playing somebody who likes different things that makes no sense to you. It really allows you to flex those muscles, to see the world through a different perspective, and empathize more. And for me, it's always a line to put on the sandals of somebody else and walk a couple of miles in their shoes to really see what it's like to live in a world where you were a slave or you are a slave and now you've escaped. And how do you live in a world where slavery is cool, but you don't want to go back there? You're not dealing with that anymore.
Yeah.
So how are you going through life? And I've explored that aspect of, okay, Onyxia was my Deep Gnome character. She was a slave, and she escaped ultimately, but through the backstory, she basically, like, there was a slave buddy system. So if one tries to escape, the other would snitch on you, like hold you back. It was kind of like, manipulation from the dark elves to make sure they don't team up. And with Onyxia, it was her sister.
Yeah.
that when they tried to escape, the sister was holding her back, like, no, we can't do that. They're gonna catch us. I have to tell them. And it led into a mortal struggle where she killed her sister. And that's all in the fucking backstory, you know? Nobody ever saw that on screen.
Yeah.
I just like got this one opportunity to talk about it with a different player character to reveal that story arc. And that's why she escaped, but she had no emotions anymore. She was completely gone, so to say, like dead on the inside. And the whole story arc was rekindling the humanity inside her, because all the other players at the table, it was like a play-by-post situation. So there was a lot of tavern room talk time.
Sure.
For people to show up and talk, to allow humanity show through other people's player characters interacting with her.
Totally.
And for my dwarf, it's like, no, that's not his problem. He had to figure out, like, how do I not break? How do I never break? You have to create your inner sanctum to become impenetrable.
Your mind palace.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's so fascinating to me, because how many stories are out there where you are the first monk? You know, you had no mentor. Your mentor was like the cheetah in the savannah, you know? It was the ape in the jungle.
Right.
It was the dragon in the sky, like, you know, going through the movements, like Avatar, The Last Airbender, like learning earthbending by the giant mole sticking through the mountains. And learning from nature itself. And same like, okay, getting subjugated by this evil culture that hate him, not just him, but his entire race. Everything he stands for, like the polar opposite of elf culture. And opposite of like good and evil, like the lawful good dwarves against the lawful evil elves that try to twist the knife every way they can. It's like, oh boy, how do you survive this?
Yeah.
It's I'm not just tolerating this. I am every time they try to push into the mind, the whole protest is they will never capture his thoughts. And that's
man.
And it's like, well, that's cool. So let's play that.
No, that like that. And that's the fun thing about it, is you can really get into just sort of that brainstorming session, you know, where you're just sitting here thinking about cool ideas. And that's another thing I really enjoy about session zeros, is everybody gets to have those conversations, and it's all pre-discussed, and you don't have to talk about it during the session.
Yes.
Like, that's the cool part, you know, so you can spend more time actually role playing in character. And when those moments present themselves to sort of disseminate that information, it feels natural. And nobody's stepping on anybody else's toes, ideally, you know.
And they can confront the characters, but it's the character being confronted, not the player being like put on the spotlight.
Yes. Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
Why would you do these silly things? Like, wait, but it was never meant to be silly. My character plays it straight.
Yeah. And if it's all discussed in the session zero and is taken care of, you don't have to have that sort of, wait a minute, like, is this the player doing this?
Yeah.
Like, are you just being a punk right now, or is this something with your backstory?
Exactly.
And it also eliminates, well, this is it excusing poor sportsmanship, you know, excusing poor play by saying, oh, well, it's something in my backstory. You can't critique it. It's something in my backstory, that sort of thing.
Absolutely. I agree. Like to get rid of this ambiguity of above table talk and in character talk. I don't want to guess, because it's a stress, right? It can stress you out, and it's gonna sap the enjoyment of playing the game itself, to the point of where you're thinking to yourself, like, should you even show up next weekend, or are you just going to visit a baseball game with your family instead?
Yeah. Is it worth the headache?
Yeah. Absolutely. All right.
Cool. Well, Yeah, I have to hop off here. My wife just got home from work, and I'm gonna go give her all the love and attention that she deserves. But Z, dude, thank you so much for having me on. It was great chatting with you, hanging out.
Good.
We had a couple people. We had a couple people in the comments. Had Bacon show up. Ear Trumpet's been struck by lightning popped in, and a couple other people. Of course, Elf Hunter. He never leaves. So.
do we have time to look at some comments, or it's over now?
Yeah. We can thumb through a couple of them. Bacon.
Go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say Bacon very astutely seeing the influence of Hacksaw Jim Duggan on Bobby. That was really sort of a last minute thing. You know, his whole character was sort of meant to be like a professional wrestler, that kind of vibe. Yeah. So Elf Hunter said that for his character Gavin Kane, the Chaos and Seuss character that he played, he took Dean Winchester from Supernatural and sort of tweaked it from there, which I really dig. I really enjoyed the back and forth that those players had, or those characters had. Felt really, really good.
It's I like the comment of Captain Conway that he believes caricatures are prevalent because of the cringe culture. People are not genuine anymore, and using caricature in a way to separate yourself from the cringe of genuine role playing. I would also say like using caricature to like as a shield, like, oh no, like don't attack me. I'm not being sincere. Therefore you don't have to take this too seriously.
Yeah, it's just a joke. Everything's just a joke.
And I guess like my question is why does it have to be a joke? Can we not be sincere if what we want to achieve with role playing games or with your character? Like I've role played women before. What if I do this? What if I do play this busty prostitute, arcane trickster that wants to run her own bordel that has a heart of ice because she grew up amongst drow as a slave, and all she known is like how to trick men to assassinate them. That was her whole job. That was the whole shtick. Yeah, this exotic was that animal, basically.
Right.
Was that the one that you, like in the thumbnails, like the good looking one?
Gotcha. Yeah. Was that because I know you had posted a GIF that you had made or that you had animated where like two characters are doing magic, like doing the somatic components of a spell.
That was
a different, was that character?
That was a different game. But
gotcha.
she was it was also a play by post, a different group.
Gotcha.
And Mirina was an elf cleric of life. And I thought, well, what's an elf cleric of life? And I asked the game master, is he okay with cheesecake or not? Right? Like, is that fine? He was like, yeah, that's fine by me. Like, I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Like, let's go.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I'm literally this big-breasted elf blessed by the goddess of fertility to spread love and children amongst the people. And her life goal was creating this this book about all the different intersexual relationships that are possible amongst the sentient.
Wow.
And researching
that's crazy.
And you know, that's just the backstory. And I mean, look, it's super goofy, but I also put her in the role of a cleric for a goddess that would permit for such a thing, giving her a reason to travel, to be part of a group, but also being a source of life and joy.
Sure. Yeah.
Which makes sense for me to be in a party in the first place. And also that like so many players at the table, that's like never any chance to like go too hard off the rails of how she's gonna research that. Like nobody has to see that.
Yeah. That's funny. That's cool though. It's always interesting to take those larger than life ideas and then find a way to make them work. You know,
Solar bimbo specialist.
Yeah, I believe Nick, dude. That's hilarious.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, I do got to get going. Dude,
sounds good.
Dude, it's a good time chatting with you, folks. Thanks for watching. As I think it was who said. Oh gosh. Bacon said, make sure y'all like and subscribe, share this with your friends. If you know someone who cannot stop making goofy characters, who cannot stop making Boblin the Goblin and playing Boblin the Goblin in every single session, send this video to them and encourage them, play a real person. Play a real character with goals and motivations and flaws. Have some things that you suck at, have some things that you're bad at, that you struggle with, and then play that person sincerely and have a great time. A lot of fun.
And one last piece of advice. If you struggle with giving your characters flaws, think about the strengths and think about how the strength can also be the flaw. It can very much help you to create the blind spot. My dwarf, he is in control of his mind palace, but he also thinks like they will never take control, to the point of when he thinks like people try to control him, that he will overreact and it might hurt people like quite harshly. That's a great way to think of flaws and add that element to your character. All right, thank you guys for watching. I'm gonna stop the stream so it doesn't look ugly when you leave the call. Goodbye, guys.
Yeah.